Today I thought I would do a what I eat in a day video, and I'm going to start with breakfast. And for breakfast I am going to make just some pumpkin bread, and I'm going to use a banana bread recipe, and I'm just going to change some things up. I'm going to start with my sugar. Now my recipe calls for just regular sugar, but I am going to instead use about 1/3 of a cup of maple syrup. I've got to guess that because this is a 1/2 cup. And 1/3 of a cup of honey. I like to mix them. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Then I'm going to use a 1/2 cup of coconut oil. You can use butter or margarine or whatever, but because I am dairy free, I am using coconut oil. Okay. Gonna give that a little stir. Okay. And next I'm going to put in 2 eggs. And I'm going to stir that up. To use about a teaspoon of cinnamon. This is something I don't really measure. I like a lot of cinnamon, so it's approximately. Stir it up. And then I'm going to use a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of baking powder. And a teaspoon of salt. Stir that. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay. And I am going to add 4 scoops of protein powder just to give it some extra protein, or some protein. 3. Okay. And I'm also going to add the pumpkin. And you can add, fresh cooked puree pumpkin. I happen to have this pumpkin, so this is what I'm using. Okay. And I'm going to add about a cup. Okay. Now I'm going to stir. Okay. And now I'm going to add milk, and it's just a tablespoon of milk. And I'm using some organic almond milk. You can use whatever you want. I'm going to add 2 cups of einkorn flour. You can use whatever flour you want. I like to use einkorn flour. I like the texture of it. And then you're just going to put your batter in a pan. And the batter should be fairly thick. I am going to add some raw granola to the top. It gives it really good flavor. And I kind of like to just press it down a little bit. And that's it. And then I'm going to bake it at 350 for 1 hour in my oven.
I paired my pumpkin bread with some herbal tea, and it was such a great breakfast to start the day off. For lunch, I had the rest of the canned pumpkin that I wanted to use up, and I had some sweet potatoes and some regular potatoes that had been in my refrigerator for quite a while. So I decided to make a pumpkin potato soup. So I cut up my potatoes, and I hate getting out the potato peeler, so I usually just use a knife to cut off the peels when I don't want the peels on my potatoes. So I pureed it just a little bit just to make some of it smooth, so it wasn't super chunky, but I do like some chunks in my soup. And then I served it in my bowl, and I topped it with cashews. And this soup was really good and really filling. It was on the spicy side. I was surprised that it was as spicy as it was, but I loved it and my family loved it, and it didn't last past lunchtime. For dinner, I decided to make one of my go-to chilies. We call it Skillet Chili, or as my kids like to say, Skilly. And I just add a can of tomato sauce, a can of corn, a can of diced tomatoes, whatever beans that I have in my pantry, and I add garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, cumin, and salt. And then I mix all of that up and I heat it up on the stove. This is my version of fast food for those days that I've been really busy. And then I had some leftover vegetarian burgers that I just wanted to use up. And so once the chili was heated, I added it in so that it doesn't break down, and that gave it an extra little bit of protein, and they have a nice flavor to them. So, and I just hate wasting, so I wanted to use those up. While my chili simmered on the stovetop, I made a quick cashew sour cream sauce, and I did this by adding raw cashews, water, lemon juice, and salt, and I just whipped it up in my blender. It makes not a super thick sauce, but it tasted really good. I topped my chili with it, and it just made my chili taste, well, even better than it already tasted. It was just really good.
And that's it. That's everything that I ate today. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!